What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Gingerbeard Sean here. I am checking in. It's been a minute. I haven't really had the motivation to do many reviews lately, but I will say I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one because today I'm going to talk about, and there are going to be a shit ton of spoilers in this. I'm sorry. There's just no way to not review the absurdity of this movie without giving away any sort of spoilers. My man James Wan, I'm not sure why he gets such a bad rap. Him and Winnell, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The fact that they took money that they won in their college film class, from what I've read, and put it into their first movie, Saw, and developed Saw into what it is now. Okay, we all know it's a little watered down, but for some reason he gets a lot of hate, and I'm not sure it's because everybody thinks he's so mainstream, if he's just not kind of stepping out and doing something on his own or creating anything new. Fast forward back to Saw. I mean, he started a fucking franchise 45 movies later. Conjuring I liked. I tend to go into movies with very low hopes, so I'm very rarely disappointed. Slaughterhouse. I went into Malignant knowing that I was late to the trend. I put it on and it starts out, I like his style. See, I like a lot of his shots, a lot of his eye for detail, and I know everybody's gonna say and says, well, he steals, from Hitchcock, or he takes from here. I mean, everybody's an inspiration, but I will tell you, when I was watching this movie, it's just the atmosphere was so cool. It was just really grimy and gritty at the beginning when Madison is the main character. You see she's in an abusive relationship, and her husband, pretty much shits the bed or kicks the bucket, however you want to say it, after he slams her into the wall, which will come back into play later. It's just the atmosphere, the shadow, the low light, and then, I don't have to tell it to anybody. When my man James pulled up when Madison was running through the house after she had heard a noise, he pulls up his camera basically all the way up to where the walls are non-existent, but you can still see them. So basically it's a set, clearly, and he just pulls it up past the wall barrier, and he's following her like a rat in a maze throughout the house. I fucking love that stuff. I don't give a shit who he took it from. I love that little camera work. I'm easy, I guess. I'm a cheap date. Jumping ahead like I always do, I want to go back. I thought it was a pretty cool scene, although now that I sit here and kind of praise James for the stuff that he does that everybody hates, he does kind of regurgitate the way that he reveals ghosts a lot in his movies. The scene where the husband was sleeping on the couch because him and Madison, his wife or girlfriend, I can't even remember, got in a fight, made his ass sleep on the couch. He may have even chose to sleep on the couch. He starts to hear noise, he gets up, he starts walking around, and all of a sudden, boop, TV comes on, super loud. Was watching a hockey game, so he got points for me there.
Fuck you, Shorzy. Fuck you, Corey.
All of a sudden, it's all camera work. He's sitting there and he's looking at the TV, and you got his point of view of looking at the TV, and it kind of pans over, and then there's just someone sitting there on the couch. Boom, lightning goes off, TV goes down, TV comes back on, nobody's on the couch. Does it all the time, but I still like it. I don't know, I'm a sucker for those little, I wouldn't call it a jump scare, more of a silent reveal. Basically, the husband, boyfriend, whatever that shit he was, I tend to watch these few adult babies deep. He's dead, like a knack snapped everything, and then it snapped, and you can see this little entity kind of crawling towards Madison. I knew going into it was a psychological thriller, ghost slasher, cool. And it kind of cuts out from there. She starts to see deaths that are actually happening around town. I'm gonna probably breeze over a lot of irrelevant shit, but I don't really care because I just can't remember.
Where you from?
I can't remember.
And she starts to see these kills happen in her mind, or her dreams also. And I will say, the way that he warped the world, basically she's the sidekick to this killer. She's watching this killer kill the whole entire time, and this world just kind of melts. And a lot of people say, yeah, CGI, this and that. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. It kind of melts, and she's riding along with this killer as he's carrying out some of these pretty brutal kills. And I will say, there was one kill scene that I mean, there was a lot that I liked, but one that really stuck out was the one that was the old man in the bed. I mean, he just got his shit kicked in. Really gruesome scene, definitely CGI. It was a mixture, I believe, CGI and practical. I could be wrong, but when you pull CGI off in the dark, which is usually a lot easier, it looked effective for me. Madison's sister is, I don't know, funny sidekick. I just couldn't get on board with her. It just, to me, wasn't believable. But they're basically going through this together, trying to figure it out with these two cops. One cop is a Wanda Sykes lookalike, and I couldn't with her, man. She was over the top, just good cop, bad cop. She obviously was the bad cop, but they're all trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. They all think that it's Madison, and Madison starts to kind of dig back into her past to kind of see what happens. I shouldn't say Madison, her sister does, because you find out that Madison was actually adopted. So her sister and Madison go back to their parents' home, and then they kind of get into watching this video that Madison's sister found when she went out to the old insane asylum that she, and back up, the way that they shot this insane asylum at the beginning, because they do kind of reveal a little bit at the beginning. Again, like I said, I'm breezing way past shit in this. They made it look like it was 1930s. At least this is how I took it. Maybe because I'm an 85 baby. but they made it look so old, and I think that it was mid-90s, mid-early 90s is what it was supposed to resemble. Anyways, that's just me nitpicking. They kind of go into the backstory of it all, and shit starts to unravel. You know, you find out that Madison has what everybody thought was an imaginary friend. She says some real scary shit for a little girl. You kind of start to see a little bit more and more of what they were doing in that video that they found at the insane asylum when Madison was a little girl. Come to find out, Malignant, I don't know why the fuck I didn't put it together, but the tumor.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Which is all, again, human cells, teeth, hair, and all this shit that grow. It's usually like a fat, massive, anywhere I guess it could be. This one was on the back of Madison's head. Now, again, I am really jumping forward here because you find this out mid-movie, and it was a little long. I did feel like the movie dragged a little bit. This tumor that's on the back of Madison's head. I was like, all right, well, and then they did the reveal. And this thing had fucking arms and legs on the back of her head, like sticking out. This was no Voldemort shit where you could just turban that shit around. No, this had limbs. It was fucking grotesque. At that moment, I knew that this was gonna be, I lied, because I was kind of confused. I did finish this movie not necessarily knowing how I felt about it, but I will say at the end of it all, I was like, fuck. The absurdity alone of this movie, I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Everybody's gonna scrutinize, oh, well, it was too this. No. It went in reverse. It was a movie that I thought was serious and then took an absurd turn, which I don't even know if it was meant to be funny. I'm usually if you're cheesy and funny from the get-go, be that way all the way through. This one was different. This one was serious tone and then just a fucking tumor on the back of her head. You kind of always thought that there was something off about the ghost killer. Yeah, okay. When you saw this thing run, it was backwards running. Like, it looked, the way that it was fucking moving, it was hilarious to actually watch this thing run. The cop scene chasing it and it's doing parkour and all this other shit, it was wild. She finally realizes, I guess to the extent of what the tumor was, the doctor's brilliant idea was to go ahead and remove the cancer, cut the limbs off of this tumor and tuck because the head was on the back of the head to head and then limb. Tuck the head, aka I guess the brain of this tumor inside Madison's head, locked her up and good to go. She was adopted. By the way, again, Madison was the child of rape. I think her mom at the time was only 14 or some shit, so she gave Madison up to this hospital. So you start to find out that this is exactly what Madison is seeing. It is not her so-called imaginary friend, but yet a fucking tumor.
Not a tumor.
That has tapped into the conscience of Madison to make her think that she's living a normal life when really she's just a shell to this tumor. The best scene of this whole entire movie is the cop station. This tumor goes fucking ape shit. Madison gets locked up, she's in a holding cell, and then all of a sudden you just see her sitting there twitching, and then she gets up, it's like a full-blown reveal, pulls her head apart, shit comes out, all these inmates losing their shit, they don't know what to think. After picking on Madison, shit just goes down. Bodies everywhere, blood everywhere, and we are talking high-flying aerobics. It's one thing to have a murderous tumor in the back of your fucking head, but when the murderous tumor is Neo from the Matrix, dude, that's a fucking win. Like, again, so stupid. It was serious, I guess still kind of wanting to be serious, and then it never really had like those lighthearted ha funniness. It just felt like it was serious all the way through, but it was absurd. And this thing goes apeshit. We're talking, I mean, James, you need to do an action movie. Maybe you have, and maybe you haven't seen it. The camera work throughout this entire Matrix clip in the cop station was phenomenal. Now, granted, a lot of the kills, if not all, were CGI, but again, dark, it worked. It worked for me at least. Absolutely goes apeshit, and then goes to the hospital. Meanwhile, in all of this entity somehow found Madison's, well, I guess their original mother and kidnapped her, shoved her in Madison's attic of her house, and Madison didn't even fucking know. So of course, naturally, when the cops were there, falls out of the roof or attic, and then they see this injured, half-dead woman on the floor, and that's how Madison got into the holding cell. Again, sorry, I'm real shit at these reviews. But anyways, fast forward, Madison breaks out, and then it wants to go to the hospital where their mom, original mom, is held up. I think it was the original mom. Fuck, I don't even know now. Maybe the adopted mom? I think it was the original mom, because yeah. So meanwhile, when this thing is outside of Madison is just kind of sitting there, I guess, on the bench, like kind of contemplating it, and Madison's sister's like, come back, Madison, you can come back, I know you can hear me, that type of bullshit. So Madison fights all of it and does end up coming back and faces this thing in the room in the hospital with the mom there. I don't know, it was kind of, I like the way that they ended it. Basically, you think the sister sister dies, again, spoilers all throughout this, but then, you know, at the end she doesn't because it was all fast forward in my mind. What Madison does is actually pretty cool. She ends up locking cancerous tumor Neo in this jail of conscience. So it's just a completely black room with a jail, with not even a cell. I think it's literally just bars, like a wall of bars, and locks her away, meaning that I guess it could possibly be a sequel if enough people liked it. But from what I remember, a lot of people didn't like this movie. This movie, I was so confused. I laughed when I figured out that this tumor had the wherewithal and the fighting styles of Neo and just wreaked havoc on everything and everyone. And then she locks it away. Mom, you know, said to the tumor before, or Neo, whatever, you know, I shouldn't have given you guys up, yada, yada, yada. And that's kind of, I think, what gave Madison the one up to lock this thing away in her conscience, mind, jail, prison, cell block 6 in her head.
We're in prison.
All in all, I breezed way over this, way quick over this. I thought it was good. I thought a lot of good kills. It was, I don't want to say it was predictable because, you know, going after the doctors that, you know, led to the situation that they were in now, that's common. You know, that was something that I kind of knew. However, man, when this friggin' thing just came out of her head, I absolutely lost it. It's over the top, serious cheese. I don't even know how to, I don't. I know I'm repeating myself. Malignant, 2021, James Wan. I don't know why, man, you get such a bad rap. I will still say my favorite James Wan flick was Dead Silence. I thought that ventriloquist dummy killing shit was great, and that actually had a really serious and gritty tone. I might have to go back and rewatch that. Malignant probably get a lot of hate. I would definitely give it a go. I'm probably gonna give it a go again. It could have been a little bit shorter, but holy fuck. Holy shit. Cancerous Neo tumor.